Hello and welcome to agricultural season. As you can see, I'm next to a cherry tree, which means that today we're going to make a little video about cleaning the cherry tree. I've had a lot of requests to make a more complex video that includes practically all the tasks that need to be done on a tree. However, we also have newer guests on this channel who want to learn about all the tasks from A to Z, what we need to do on a tree, how to clean the tree, without being specialists in this field. So, first of all, when we want to clean a tree, we need to analyze it from top to bottom or bottom to top, whichever way is more comfortable for you. To look at it, to understand it. If the crown is too dense or not dense enough, if we have dry branches, broken branches that grow inward, we also need to pay attention to the mummified fruits. What are these? Are fruits that carry certain pests or spores of some fungi within them. So these fruits that weren't harvested during the summer need to be removed from the tree so that they don't host or spread pests in the tree. After that, we start making cuts on the tree. So we need to do this systematically. Main branch, axis, spur with fruit untouched. And we start analyzing it from the base to the tip. So we see the branch. We have here a spur that is well loaded with fruit. We won't touch it. We won't do anything to it. We have some May clusters that will also bear fruit next year. And then we have a branch like this, which is full of May clusters and has a very short length. So again, we won't touch it. We won't do anything to it. We remove everything that was left unharvested from last year. And so we see that from this main branch, a sub-branch is growing. So move on to this sub-branch. We analyze it again, and we see that it is very well loaded with May clusters. This means it will bear fruit very well. It's just that distance of these May clusters is too far from the base where this branch grows. And so we will shorten it to 2-year wood, cutting 2-year-old wood mod to reduce fruit along the branch and bring it closer to the base. Some 1-year-old branches facing downwards, remove these new branches facing downwards to a stub as there are fruiting buds at the base. Some 1-year-old branches facing downwards, remove new branches facing downwards to a stub as there are fruiting buds at the base. Move on to a 1-year-old branch facing downwards, remove it to a stub, leaving only fruiting formations. We've finished with this sub branch, and now we go back up the main branch. There are very short twigs, also some mummified fruits. A 1-year-old branch that is facing downwards, and we will also remove it to a stub, leaving only these fruiting formations that we have here. We've finished with this sub branch, and now we go back up the main branch. We have here some very short twigs. We also have some mummified fruits. These branches are loaded with fruit. Again, there's no need to do anything to them. We have here a horizontal branch, also well loaded with fruit. Its length is very small, about 30 centimeters. We won't do anything to it. On the other side, we also have a middle branch that doesn't interfere with anything. We move further. Here we already have a 2-year-old branch which already has May clusters at the top, some middle branches. Those that are facing downwards, as I mentioned before, we remove them to a short stub. We don't do anything to the horizontal ones. We don't shorten them because their length is still not too big, and there's no need to shorten them. So we let them load up well with fruit. We also have a branch that is already well loaded with fruit. At the top it has a tip, it has May clusters, and it's loaded very well with fruit. So there's no need to cut it. Further on, we also have a branch with some 1-year-old twigs that are growing downwards. We remove it, leaving only a stub with fruit at its base. We leave the horizontal branches, and here we have 2 branches, one overlapping the other, so we cut it to a stub and leave only the horizontal ones. We leave them because the branches are horizontal. Now looking higher up, if we don't want to raise this branch too high, we can lower it by making a transfer cut to a horizontal branch. Transfer to a horizontal branch, move higher to another main branch, descend the lower branch, and remove mummified fruits. shorten the branch for quality fruits. So we rise higher, and here we have another main branch from which we have a bifurcation, and we go down the lower branch. We see a sub-branch that is very well loaded with fruit, and we remove the mummified fruits. Now, this is from the other branch. We take off the fruits, and we see that it is loaded very well with fruit, but its length is too long, so we shorten it a bit to ensure we only have quality fruits here. And similarly, to bring it a bit closer to the base of the tree, we also shorten this branch by making a transfer to a horizontal branch. So here we only have horizontal branches. Anything that was growing upwards was removed last year. We look further. So this is from the other branch. We remove the fruits, and we see that it is very well loaded with fruit, but its length is too long, so we shorten it a bit to ensure we only have quality fruits here. And similarly, to bring it a bit closer to the base of the tree, we also shorten this branch by making a transfer to a horizontal branch. So here, we only have horizontal branches. Anything that was growing upwards was removed last year. We look further. So we rise up the same main branch. We take the mummified fruits off the tree. So here we have a stump, but we're renewing it. It was too long, and it has branches at its base, so clusters of new growth. We remove a branch that grows vertically, so up here we have a bifurcation. We have a horizontal branch that grows horizontally, and this one is growing very vertically, as you can see. It's also developing some quite vigorous branches from last year. So everything that has a vertical position gets removed. Again, we remove it at the stump and leave only the horizontal branches. This one is looking a bit downward. We remove it at the stump and leave this horizontal one untouched. We see here we have a horizontal branch that again tends to grow upwards. We make a transfer cut on two branches that are growing horizontally. We move to the other side, and again we remove the mummified fruits. Here we see that we have several fruit formations. We don't do anything here. All the branches are short. Looking further, we have some branches that weren't removed last year that were facing downwards, so we remove them this year. Here we have several 2 to 3 year old branches that are well covered with fruit, but their length is too long, so we will shorten them to about 40 centimeters. The other side is the same. We have a branch well covered with fruit. Here we have several 2.3 year old branches that are well covered with fruit, but their length is too long, so we will shorten them to about 40 centimeters. The other side is the same. We have a branch, covered with fruit. We will shorten it as well, because we need high quality fruit. And here we make a transfer cut on a 1 year shoot, and we won't cut it anymore, because cutting it would mean a challenge to its growth. We will shorten it as well, because we need high quality fruit. And here we make a transfer cut on a 1 year shoot, and we won't cut it anymore, because cutting it would mean a challenge to its growth. So we move along this axis and reach another canopy. Everything that grows vertically upwards, and if we look here, this canopy, based on its length and height, its vigor, is already competing with the central axis, with the leader. So we need to subordinate it. How is subordination done? By removing it, or stopping its growth in length, or by eliminating it. So we will stop its length by removing the continuation, and we will also remove this branch that is facing upwards. So here only the fruit formations will remain, and some branches will start growing from the base that will also be covered with fruit. The 2 year old branches that are already well covered and are too long, we will shorten them, of course. So here we have another canopy growing from the axis, and we see that we have a very vigorous vertical 2 year old branch that is competing with our leader. The 2 year old branches that are already well covered and are too long, we will shorten them, of course. So here we have another canopy growing from the axis, and we see that we have a very vigorous vertical 2 year old branch that is competing with our leader. Similarly, we will remove it and we will make transfers to the horizontal branches. By doing this, subordinating them to our leader, and we go higher up. Again, we have a vertical branch that we again remove, thereby subordinating the branches to our axis. Here some branches are getting thick and tangled, so we can remove them as well. Everything that grows downward is removed. So just like that, everything that grows upwards, but here we don't have any. Down here we still have some branches that we need to arrange. So everything that grows upwards, we transfer the growth to horizontal branches. Here we have a horizontal branch. This one goes up and this one goes down. We move it, we cut it back to a stub. We cut it back to a stub. So everything grows horizontally. As you can see, everything that grows downwards or upwards is cut back to a short stub. We cut it back to a stub, so everything grows horizontally. As you can see, everything that grows downwards or upwards is cut back to a short stub. And only the branches are allowed to grow horizontally. So up here as well, we will make a transfer to a horizontal branch. Here, this branch is also competing, growing upwards, so we cut it back. The inward growing one will also be cut back. We have a canopy and a branch growing upwards. Below, there are two horizontal branches, and this one going up will be transferred to horizontal branches. Another important case, the canopy grows from the axis, and a branch thicker than the canopy is under it. It has a vertical position and significant growth. Vertical growth forms a lot of growth, and we can't leave this branch, as it will compete with the canopy. This branch will dominate the tree's axis due to its vigor. To the horizontal branches, preventing upward growth. Remove everything growing upwards. Here, note the canopy growing from the axis and a branch under it, thicker than the canopy. This branch is very vertical, with significant growth competing with the canopy annually. It will dominate the tree's axis due to its vigor, so we cut it back to a stub. From this stub, we have 1, 2, 3 buds, one possibly dry. On this side, 2 buds will grow branches in a horizontal position. It has already surpassed the thickness of the canopy, and as you can see, it has a very vertical position and a lot of growth. So everything that is vertical forms a lot of growth, and we can't leave this branch because it will compete every year with this canopy. Therefore, all the formations here will yield to the development of this branch, which will tend to dominate the tree's axis due to its own vigor. That's why we will definitely cut it back to a stub. From this stub, we have 1, 2, 3 buds, of which one might be dry. On this side, we have 2 buds, from which some branches will surely start growing in a fairly horizontal position. So these are the most important tasks for maintaining a tree. We definitely cut it back to a stub. From this stub, we have 1, 2, 3 buds, one of which might be dry. On this side, we have 2 buds from which some branches will surely start growing in a fairly horizontal position. So these are the most important tasks for maintaining a tree. Everything that grows inward, everything that grows vertically, everything that grows downward is removed. Everything that competes with the tree's axis, everything that is more vigorous than the canopy it grows from, everything that is broken, everything that has any injuries is removed. Mummified fruits also need to be removed. With all these tasks, we will enhance the fruiting of the tree, prolong its life, and it will definitely thank us. By providing the fruits, we will harvest every year. So that's what I wanted to tell you. Thank you for your attention. I wish you success and good luck with your work.